Hello, this is Wusik Station, and we're going to talk about Wusik Station version 9 and its main features and how to start using Wusik Station. So the first thing you're going to notice on Wusik Station is that you can click on the Wusik Station logo here at the left, and it's going to open a global menu with several options that you should take a look at. Some of these options can help with your workflow. And another thing you have is the layer chainer. You can have several types of layers. You can have the sample player, the wave sequencer. Load the wave sequencer here. So the wave sequencer is pretty much what the name says. You can sequence some sounds, some waveforms. Then you have the sample player for the wave sequencer, which you can load the samples. Then you have the tree oscillator layer. We have also the super oscillator, the draw wave oscillator. You have to click the lock it to unlock it and be able to draw something. And you have some options for that. And the great thing about the draw oscillator, you have 20 slots that you can have different waveforms on each slot. So here I have waveform 2. Let me go to waveform 1. And I can use the morph option to go from one waveform to another. I can use the fixer with the fade. Then you have the audio looper. The audio looper, you have to feed audio to the plugin, and then this audio is going to be sampled and played like a synth sound. Sounds like a vocoder effect in sometimes, depending on what the settings you set. So those are the types of layers. So we have the sample player, the wave sequencer, tree oscillator, super oscillator, the wave oscillator, and audio looper. And some layers, you have the option to right-click and select other options. So here I have some extra options for that layer that are mostly not on the screen here. Some are, some aren't. And you can also rename a layer. And you can also duplicate a layer. You can copy and save to a file, or copy to memory and then paste it, or just delete the layer if you want. I'm just deleting the layers now. So let me load my initial sample player here, and I'm going to talk about the layer settings, which is pretty much the same for all the type of layers. So we have the volume and panning, the semi and fine. I have this little lock here that you can make the whole layer fixed note. So no matter what key I press on my keyboard, I'm pressing several keys now, and it's always playing the note 60 with the middle C. And you can also right-click on any option to center the value, or right-click and learn MIDI controller. So if I click learn MIDI controller and I move my controller on my keyboard, I can access directly this option here. So I have my high quality option here. If you're using a multi-output version of the plugin, here on this empty space, you're going to be able to select one of the 16 outputs. I have my two FX sends, which goes to the FX master player here, where I have my send 1 and send 2. I also have an insert effect per layer. Let me go back to layers. My amplitude envelope here, which is a multi-line envelope. And I can also click on an empty space here and select ADSR mode if I want a more straightforward envelope. And Here's my audio input if I'm feeding some audio. Unison, which is monophonic unison. And there's some options for the monophonic sound here too. You can just leave the mouse and on top of it, it's going to explain with a tooltip. It's a great way to learn about the plugin itself. And then you have the filter. Each layer has a filter section which can have multiple filters. So I can have my multi-filter here, and I can add a legacy filter, which is the same filter from Wusik Station version 7. Now I have 2 filters. And I can also have custom filters, which uses a small text-based file. You can take a look at the data folder under extras. And there are some different filters here too. So now I have 3 filters, each one with different settings. And I can also use the parallel processing if I want, instead of serial processing, which is the default one. And that's pretty much it for the layers. And here on my sample player, I have some new options on Wusik Station version 9 that I can use directly on the screen. I can use a round robin to layer selection. So the sample player, you can have multiple layers of sounds. So here I have my layer 1 of 1 with the sound sine waveform, but I can also use the new layer to add a second layer. So let's use that new layer. And I'm going to just load a simple waveform, the square waveform here. So now I have 2 layers, layer 1 and layer 2. Layer 1 is my sine waveform, layer 2 is my square waveform. So if I select the round robin to layer selection and I play several notes, I have to disable the sound because you can see that each time I press a key, it's playing a different layer. So we have layer key switching. We have the modulation wheel to the layer selection, and key velocity to sample start. You can see it goes to the start point. We also have granular synthesis here. And the granular synthesis, you have to use a different sound file because it's not going to sound great with a sine waveform. So let me load a showcase example of granular synthesis here. Not one here. Let me check. Here, granular morphing. Oh, it's missing my sounds. I forgot to copy the sound. Sorry about that. Let me try the granular tests. So what's happening here? I have 2 grains. I haven't messed up with this speed. The size of the grains is set by the note pitch. So if I play a lower note, or a higher note, and on my modulation matrix here, you have the modulation sequencer 1, which is the modulation sequencer 1 here at the bottom, going to my sample start, which is also the same as the grain selection position. So if I go over here, you can see sample start position or granular grains position. So that's the granular sound here. I can also have dual oscillator on the sample player. And the most important part of Wusik Station, especially Wusik Station version 9, is the modulation matrix. But before I talk about it, let's take a look at the master area. The master area, I have the master volume. I have a master limiter. I can activate it or deactivate it. Stereo, some other options, and that's pretty much it. But on the scene effects and insert effects, I can also use regular VSTs. So if I go here on new effect, you can see there's my VST list here, which goes on a special folder under the data folder. and also have custom effects that also use a text file based to really create some custom effects. So that's pretty much it. Another option I have here on the modulation matrix is that I can have a master modulation area. The master modulation area can be used to modulation other layers, or I can have my master arpeggiator here, make it some arpeggiating sound. So let me load my initial wave sequencer again. I'm going to turn on the master arpeggiator. So if I have more layers, let me add another layer. It's going to affect all the two layers because I'm doing this on the master layer. So I have the arpeggiator, I have key switching, so I can use key switching with different settings for each layer. Then I can switch from one layer to another using the MIDI keyboard. The stick keys is going to hold the keys even when release the notes, and then has some options to how you are going to stop the notes. Then you have multiple LFOs. You can have several LFOs here. And so you can also rename an LFO, like filter LFO, pitch LFO, something like that. You can also have multiple modulation envelopes. So you can have multiple modulation envelopes and multiple wave sequencer modulation. Modulation sequencer. The modulation sequencer only works with the modulation matrix. It doesn't affect anything until you add it as a source to something. The auto node does exactly like it says. If you select auto node and save the preset, the next time you load the preset is going to auto play a note that you have selected here. You can also have a delay of time before the note plays. So let's say 10 seconds or 5 seconds. Pretty much it. Also have the modulation gate. The modulation gate is a bit different because it's going to go from the minimum value to the maximum value using the rate selected here. And it can use ping pong for reverse or random progression. So if you just use a for, it's just going to go from the minimum and maximum using the rate. So if you put a very slow rate, every time you press a note, it's going to forward to the next note. So it's handy for when you want, let's say, a ping pong effect for the panning. So you just select minimum -1, then 1, and a rate of 2, and it's going ping pong from left and right on the panning. Then you have the MIDI controllers. You can have several MIDI controllers here. By default, I already have 2. And it can be MIDI controller, aftertouch, pitch bend, note key, note velocity, and channel pressure. And we have also the logic. The logic is useful because you can add multiple sources to the logic and have it output something depending on the formula that you created here. It's a bit more complex and hard to understand, but it's pretty much you have the value 1 and value 2 and the default value, and the value is going to be fed to the logic gate, and it's going to compare if value 1 is equal to value 2. Just leave the mouse over on I think it was on the value option. There should be some tooltip here. If not, I'm going to add it, but it's a bit harder to understand the logic module. But it's there, it works, and it's a great addition to version 9. Another thing that's kind of new is the wavetable part. Let me load some wavetable sounds here. you can see I have a sound here, the saw wave, and have a name here, wavetable file. So if I play it, and you can see that it changed here on this area. With instead of sample start, there's a wavetable there. And what happens is this file has 128 waveforms, one after the other, and I can select how I want those waveforms to play. So it's a very different type of synth creation, but it's a very great thing. Another thing that's new to Wusik Station version 9 is the drum sequencing. Let me load here wave sequence with drums. So this goes on a wave sequencer. So let me show you something. Let me load an into wave sequencer. And I'm going to right click here. And you can see that I have mode 1, mode 2, mode drums, and mode keys. So we have new type of sequencing options here. The mode drums is the new one, which adds a 15-track drum selection here and plays on the sample player, or you can also use on the options menu. There's an option here, let's see, send notes to next layers and out. So it's going to produce MIDI output of these notes. So let's say you have on the sample player here, I'm going to delete all layers. So there is no sounds here, so it's not going to play anything. And let me play. You have to press a key on the keyboard to play something. And this is, instead of producing the notes here, is going to output the notes, the MIDI output of the plugin. Another option here, let me go back to exit drum mode. Exit, sorry. My accent sometimes is terrible. And I have the mode keys. The mode keys is for monophonic bass and synth sound creations. So it's, well, it does pretty much that. So you can create some sequence. I don't think I have created preset example yet, but I'm going to create one. So it's very simple to use, and both modes, the drum modes and sequencing mode, have 4 variations of 16 steps each. And we also have double steps that can be selected for each step. You can hear the double steps. This is a very different and new thing on Wusik Station, which requires a video about it on its own because it's very complex. And I probably have missed something here that you may want to know about, so just write me on the support area and I'm going to reply. You can use also the new Facebook support forum. And this is a work in progress. This is not done yet. I'm releasing it as version 9.0.0, but new versions is going to follow soon. And I'm also working on Wusik 8008 and soon on the new products that I'm very late with that were promised some time ago. But if you don't know, I got sick, very sick, with some mental problems and other health issues. And I've been diagnosed as bipolar not long ago, and it's not been easy to work with all the medication I'm taking. So Modulation version 9 first release is a big win for me. I know a lot of people are expecting more, but this is what I can deliver right now, and I'm going to keep working on it. And soon it's going to be a much bigger product. I promise that. So thanks for watching, and I hope you appreciate this, and I hope you have fun with the product. And I'm going to do some more other tutorial videos, new videos explaining each of the layer chainers, layer types. So one video for a sample player, one video for a wave sequencer, one video for the drum sequencer, one video for the node sequencer, and so on. So that's it. Thanks for watching.